on face. Okay, let me just test my life. I like to test my live face because I once had a session once, and then the microphone was not recording. That was one of the very disappointed situation where I felt like, I waste. Oh yeah, I think so. We on. I can see here. Okay, so let me just play a little just to make sure microphone is. Where I felt like, oh yes, it was. Oh yeah, I think. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, we're gonna solve integration, differentiation. You might be wondering like, hey, Mtwana, you need some help? Uh let's go and solve this question right here. Okay, so let's solve this question right here. Look, like I was saying, right? When you learn this stuff, make sure you always have a higher speed, because speed is the key, especially when you solve math, because you can understand everything, but if your speed is very slow, and then you end up not finishing your wax, and then you will fail. Okay, so I'm gonna solve which question should I start with? Okay, let me start we're gonna solve this question here. After we finish, you're gonna be able to solve this question and this question right here, and what else? There's another question here. So question, yeah, we can solve this too. It's fine. Okay, no problem. We can solve this too. Let's start with this one first. No, let me start with this one first. Consumer surplus. Okay, so okay, right here, come to the ink. I'm gonna go to the pen and get started. So let's say demand and supply function. So we have this demand, price of demand, and PS means price of supply function, respectively. Okay, whereby P and Q, P is the quantity and Q is the P is the price and Q is the quantity. Now they want us to find the consumer surplus. So to get a consumer surplus, we have a formula for us. We have a formula. Let me just show you something here before I continue. Before I go ahead, I want to make sure if you can see me very, very clear. Oh yes, you can see. So we have a formula right here. So that formula say, look, if you want to get consumer surplus, we have a little formula say consumer surplus equal to, you write your integral, and then you say 0 to Q, here must be Q, and then take your price of demand, means you must take this function here, and then after that you must differentiate, you must integrate, and then you minus P times Q, means price times quantity. So we want to have to find what is P and what is Q. So first and foremost, remember they say is at equilibrium. So since it's at equilibrium, means you're gonna equate the price of quantity and price of demand equal to the price of quantity at equilibrium. So at equilibrium, you're gonna say price of supply always equal to price of demand. So what is the price of supply? And the price means you can equate this function, and that one is gonna equate at equilibrium. So I'm gonna say, well, let me equate them. So price of demand equal to price of supply. What is the price of demand? 800 E, and then we have a negative 0.3 Q, and then it's gonna be equal to the price of demand. What is the price of demand? 4, and then we have a E 0.7 Q. But before we go ahead, there's a very, very important concept which says, look, in mathematics, if you have, let's say, ln of A, let me say over B, this let me say ln of A minus ln of the one at the bottom. Oh, let me say it again. I think it did not show right there. If you have, let's say, ln of A over B, this is same as say ln of the first one, which is on top, minus ln of the one at the second one. So that's how you separate if you have a division. This is very, very important because there's a concept here I want to introduce. But if it's multiplication, okay, somebody, let's say ln of A times B. Remember there's a times. This let me say ln of the first one plus. Why we plus? Because there's a multiplication between ln of B. Okay, so ln of A plus ln of B if it's multiplication. But if it's division, what you do, you minus those two ln. Let me say one more time because it's very, very crucial. If somebody give me ln of, let's say P over Q. But remember, it has to be one ln and then bracket and then P or whatever you have on top divided by the one at the bottom. So this, we have a rule of the ln, means you can separate, say ln of the first one which is on top, but since it's division, so what you do, you minus here. So I say ln of Q. Very, very acceptable. We have a rules like that. You understand what I'm saying? But if it's multiplication and then you add, if it's multiplication, you add. Means if it's P times Q ln, this is equal to ln of P. Remember, there's multiplication here in between, so this is going to be ln of Q. Okay? One more example. So, what I'm going to do here, look. I'm going to apply ln throughout. I'm going to put ln on the left, and then I'll put ln after equal sign here. Means ln of 800 with that, and then ln. Okay, here, it's like I squeezed a lot of things once. Okay, it was like this. So I'm going to put ln here. And then means I have a ln of 4 and that. And then what I'm going to do next, look. And why do I introduce that? Because I see E here. Okay? So now remember here, there's a multiplication, 800E and whatever. So since we have an 800E, I can separate the, according to the law of the ln. I'll say ln of 800, like we say, but remember there's a multiplication here between. So I'm going to say plus ln of the second one, which is E, negative 0.39. Equal sign, equal sign. Now we come for the next one. I'm going to say ln of 4. But remember there's a multiplication here between 4 and E power whatever. So we say plus because there's a multiplication between ln of E and this is 0.79. Okay? So I can simply raise here. Oh, okay, it's fine. No problem. I'm going to raise because I'll write anyway. And then I'll say, look, this is ln of 4 and this is ln of 4. So we have a rule in math, right? If you have, let's say, ln of E power anything, let's say 4, you can take this number behind. That's acceptable. Say 4 ln of E. The reason why, because ln of E equal to 1. So this is going to be 4 times 1 and the final answer equal to 4. Because ln of E equal to 1 is going to be 4 times 1 equal to 4. Let me say it again one more time. So if somebody give me, let's say ln of E power, let's say X. This, let me say I'll take X behind. So it's going to be X ln of E. But then I know my ln of E equal to 1. So it's going to be X times 1 because ln of E equal to 1. X times 1 equal to X. Remember, this is very, very important. So for that being said, I'll come back here to the question, to our question and say, well, I can simply take this behind ln here. And then I can simply take this behind ln here. Okay? So then I'm going to have, ln 4 of 800. This place is not going to be enough. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so say ln 800 is 800. And the plus. If you take this behind, it's going to be negative 0.39. But plus and negative is going to become, because this is going to be negative 0.39. And there's a plus. Negative and plus, negative. So I don't have to say this plus minus, or just say what? Minus 0.39. And they have a ln of E. But remember, ln of E equal to 1. So ln of means 0.39 times 1, because this is going to be 1, like we say, ln of E always equal to 1. So 0.39 times ln of times 1, because this is 1, is going to give us 0.39. So I can simply write here 0.39. And then equal sign. And then here we have a ln of 4, after equal sign, ln of 4. So same here, 0.7 is going to go to the back. We're going to say there's a plus here, plus 0.79, and then times ln of E, because here it's going to be like this. Let me write here. It's going to be 0.79, 0.7. Let me write here. Excuse me. Sorry. I want to write something. I want to show you. I'll show you something here. Because 0.79 is going to come here behind. It's going to become 0.3979. My apologies. And the ln of E. But then we know this ln of E is going to become 1. So it's going to become 0.79 times 1. Which is going to become still 0.79. So for that being said, all this stuff is like a 0.79, because this one went here and then ln of E equal to 1, so 0.79. I don't have to write anything after. So then we want to solve 0.79Q. 0.7Q, not 79, 7Q, my apologies. 7Q, 0.3Q. See, I say 9 is Q, my apologies, Q. So then I can simply group them. Let's group them. So on the left I have on the left I have ln of 800. I'll take ln of 4 behind. It's gonna come ln of 4 here. Equal. So on the right hand, because there's an equal sign here, on the right hand side I'll be left with 0.79 and 7Q. I'm sorry, 7Q. And this 0.3 is gonna go over. So it can become 0.3Q. Now let me write like this. Sorry. So 0.7Q is going to be right. But when 0.3Q go over, remember it's negative, it's going to become positive. So 0.7 plus 0.3 is going to become 1.0. Because you add them. 1.0 what? Q. Let me say it again. On the right hand side, we have a 0.7 Q. And this 0.3, remember it's negative. When you jump equal sign, it's going to become plus 0.3 Q. So when you add them, it's going to become 1.0 Q. So that's what I say. After equal sign here, we have a 1.0 Q. It's like a 1 Q. 1.0 is just a 1 Q. So the reason I'm doing this because I want to get the value of Q, and after get my value of Q, and then I can solve the consumer surplus. Just a minute. Just a minute. So then I'm going to say, look, we said before, if you have a ln of A minus ln of B, this let me say ln of A over B. That's a rule how we say it. So if I have a ln of 800 minus ln of 4, this let me say ln of 800 over 4 equal to 1Q is just a Q. So 800 over 4 is 200. So ln of 200 equal to Q. So we know the value of Q. So the value of Q we have. Okay? And if you have the value of Q, means we can substitute and get the value of P. So that should be the very first step. You must equate your product of demand, P of demand, price of demand, and then price of the supplier, and then find P and Q. So we already have a Q. Q equal to ln of 200. What about P? You can substitute here or there to get the value of P, because price of demand and price of the supply at equilibrium they are equal. That's why we equated them. So let me just use this one. Either one you can use. Price of demand equal to 800 E and then 0.3, and then we're gonna put our Q. What is our Q? Ln of 200 equal. So I can just come into my calculator and plug that in a calculator. Even if you take the second one, it's gonna give the same answer. I'm gonna come here and they say, well, come right here, 800, and then E, shift E, and then negative 0.3, negative 0.3 bracket ln 200. Close. And they say equal. And then we got, oh, I think I forgot. I think I put more bracket there. I apologize. Let's go back and see which mistake I did. Okay, negative 0. Okay, let's see. I think I forgot to close the bracket. Let's go. Because there's a many bracket. I'm supposed to, oh, because after 3, I open the bracket. So I must close the bracket again. I must close the bracket. Yeah, another bracket, because remember after 0.3, there's another bracket. I must close the bracket. Okay, and then after that, just say equal. Should give it. Oh, no, please. I made a big mistake now. I'm sorry. Okay, come here. I need to remove that close bracket after 0, 0. I'm sorry. Okay, so we need to close another bracket here. And then I need to remove the bracket after 0, 0 here. But you can plug it slowly, right? It's me who made a mistake here. Okay. Come here, remove that close bracket. Yes, more. Yes, I don't need that one. That one must go. So I also make some little mistakes sometimes. Okay. So this is gonna give us it should be how it should be. It's gonna be 163.22. So 163.22. Okay, so our P, 163.22. But you can substitute even in a PS there. It's gonna give you the same value. Okay. So it's gonna be what? Our Q equal to that one. And then we're gonna say our P equal to 1 163.22. This is our P. But you could have substituted the value here of P, it was going to give you the same value, which is 163, because remember at equilibrium, PD equal to PS means price of demand equal to price of supply. Excuse me, sorry. With that being said, now what we're going to do now, we have a P and Q, so we're going to substitute. So the first trick is find P and Q. We're going to substitute in a formula of what? Because they say find the consumer surplus, so we're going to say consumer surplus equal to integral 0 to Q, always 0 to Q, and then here must be price of demand, which is this one, and then you say DQ minus price times quantity. We know our price and we know our quantity. What is our price? Our price equal to this one and quantity equal to that one. So we can substitute all those values and finish up. So consumer surplus equal to integral 0. What is our Q? Our Q equal to ln of, because Q equal to ln of 200. Ln of 200. PD, price of demand equal to 800. E, and this one here, negative 0.3 Q minus P times Q. What is our P? Our P equal to 163.22 times Q. What is our Q? Ln of 200. This is our Q here, ln of 200. So our Q equal to ln of 200. Our Q, ln of 200. So what we can do now, we can just do normal solving and find the value. That's all we need to do. Okay, so we know the consumer surplus, like that's a formula. So now let's just do normal integration now. Okay, so if we integrate, if you integrate E of a function, this same as say, you say 1 over the derivative of a function, means you derivate that, and then you write the way how it is. But if there's a limit here, you write lower limit and upper limit. Okay, let me say one more time. So what we're going to do here in equation which we solving right now, we're going to say, well, this is easy. So if I derivate this stuff here, okay, so I'm going to say, let me take little by little, right? And then I can derivate for you. Let me move my calculator to the right because I don't need this calculator. Let me make it big. Okay, so I'm going to say, let me integrate that. So when I integrate all of this, I'm going to get 1 over, when you, then, no, we take 800 behind face because 800 is just a constant, has nothing to do with anything. 800 just 800. And then this is going to come here as 800. So we only left with what? With E power. It's like you integrate E, because 800 went behind, right? Integral. Okay, let me show you the steps. It's going to be like integral of E negative 0.3 Q dQ, and then dQ minus P times Q. But we know our P, we know our Q. Our P equal to this one, and that's a Q. So now, and behind there's 800 because this 800 went behind. So now I can erase this one here. No. Let me not erase. Let me write my value here. Minus P. P equal to 163.22 times ln of 200. 200. Oh, it doesn't want to write here. Okay. Okay, let me just erase this and write again, because I didn't want to write. Okay, so I'm going to say, I take 800 behind, so just 800, and the integral of E, that one minus that one. So now we can integrate this separately. So I'm going to say, if I integrate that what we have, or you can use a line calculator, but for me, I'm going to integrate straight. I'll say, well, I'm going to say we have 800, and then when I integrate E power anything, I have to say, oh, no, let me just take so, because this is for the beginner class. 800 is going to go behind, and then let me integrate now. When you integrate, only integral of E differentiate what we have here. When you differentiate negative 0.3, it's going to give you what? It will give you negative 0.3, and then write underneath, and then write exactly what you have. These are rules of integration. Now this is messy. The way I write is not looking good. Okay, let me write very, very slow. 800 behind. Let's put bracket, and then I'm going to say 1 over derivate what we have. When you derivate negative 0.3, it's going to give you negative 0.3, and then write what you have exactly. E negative 0.3q. Okay, and then after we're going to minus, we multiply this two. Okay, and then we're going to write them here. I'm trying to save a space, which is going to be 163 ln of 200. I can plug in the calculator if I want. Let's plug in the calculator if I want. But hey, I forgot something here. We have a limit, right? Okay, let me just do this because the space is not enough here. I need to use a lot of brain. So when you integrate this, we have 8, but remember there's a limit here. The limit, because we don't plus it, there's a limit which is 0 to 1, and then we minus, we have to multiply this 2 and write the answer here. And it's not 1. This is ln of 200. The upper limit, the lower limit, what is the lower limit? The lower limit, according to the formula, is 0, and the upper limit is ln of 200. So the next step now, what I'm going to do, I'll say, well, what is here? But remember the thing, it must be written here. So then I can simply say, okay, let me make this page bigger a little bit. So then I can simply say, look, remember this must be written here. Just because of the space, that's what it must be written there. So then I can say upper limit minus lower limit. So if you take upper limit, means you must substitute in the position of q here. And then all of them, so I'm going to say something like this. That's okay. What is upper limit? Ln of 200. So I'll say my 800, just 800. 1 over 0.3 negative. And then E, just say E. What is the upper limit? The upper limit is ln of 200. So in the position of Q, I'm going to say, okay, we have 0.3. In the position of Q, say ln of 200. And then we're going to minus. Okay? Remember 800 went out. And 0.3 also should go out also. So we're left with this. Minus lower limit. What is the lower limit? Lower limit equal to 0. So I'm going to say E 0.3 times 0 is going to be E power 0. What is E power 0 equal to? 1. So this is going to be 1. And then we minus this one here. So if you plug this in the calculator, this should give you consumer surplus equal to 1,257.799. And if you come here, this is going to be the last option. With that being said, let's go to the next question. The next question is very, very easy because they say here, find the slope of the curve. But when they say slope, means find first derivative. So I'm going to say if I derivate y, I get dy over dx equal, when you differentiate 12x cubed, is go multiply 3 times 12 equal to 36x. 3 minus 1 equal to 2 plus 2 times 8 equal to 16x. Minus, when you differentiate 12x, you get only 12. So the next thing here, so this is going to be our slope because first derivative meaning slope, but they say x equal to 15. So I'm going to say my slope, which is dy dx equal to 36. What's the value of x? 15. Square plus 16. And the value of x again is 15. Minus 12. And if you can plug in the calculator that one, you plug in the calculator. Come and plug in the calculator here. And then we're going to say 36 bracket 15 plus 16 bracket 15 minus 12. Okay, and this gonna give us 1578. Let's see, do you have that option here? 1578. There's no option. Means I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. Oh, the first one is 36. Did I play 36 here? 36 x squared. Let me see. I think I forgot the 6. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot the 3 here. 36. Oh, no. 36. I say 6 by mistake. 36. Okay, now let's get the answer equal. And this is going to give us 8328, which is going to be option number 3. That's the final answer. Without me saying thanks a lot for coming through, I'm going to stop here.